All right. Okay. I wrote some notes down for myself so I wouldn't lose my place here. But okay. So again, my name is Janessa Botticelli. I'm actually a massage therapist, but I have taken a step back from that, and now I make vegan recipes and cooking. I do a blog online called Uh-Oh, It's Vegan. And my tagline there is, you don't have to be vegan to enjoy vegan food. Um, some people see the word vegan and get a little shy about it, but you can make some really good food. Um, let's see. So a little bit about why I became vegan myself actually is I got very, very sick 3 years ago with something called ulcerative colitis, and it's an autoimmune illness. And I found that doing a vegan diet actually made me feel so much better. And the more I learn about how to cook vegan and make good food, the better I feel actually. So I wanted to share that with you all here today too. All right. And actually, many of us either know somebody who's vegan or we each go vegan for a different reason. But these are some, coming up on this video, are some commonly asked questions that people around us have, or maybe even we have when we're considering that diet. So we're just going to learn a little bit about it here. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments, either there on YouTube and Facebook, or to write them down there on the sheets of paper that are in front of you. And we're going to have a question and answer time after we make our recipe here. Okay? So here is our video.
Physicians Committee. New Year, New You is the topic. And of course, those who are going vegan today is the big day. There still may be some questions lingering in their brain. They know some questions, maybe some myths, maybe some untruths. Maybe their friends have said something. Maybe their family has said something. Maybe they're just curious. But we need to debunk some of these myths here. You bet. One of the big ones I think that non-vegans have is that you just can't get enough protein in your diet without meat. True or false?
Yeah, it's a funny thing. Back in the 1950s, dietitians looked at it and it became very, very clear that there's abundant protein in plant products. But that question just will not die. Every new vegan, you're at a party and other people, the first thing they have to say is, where do you get your protein? The person asking doesn't necessarily know what protein is,
right?
But they have to ask you where you're getting it. So it is a myth. The idea that a vegan diet is going to be low in protein, complete myth. So but let me give you a couple of details. The first thing is if you went to the zoo and you looked at the biggest elephant there, or the tallest giraffe, or you went to a racetrack and you saw the fastest stallion, or you looked out in the field and you saw the biggest bull, these are all vegan.
Mm-hmm.
They've got rippling musculature. Where do they get it? Do plants actually have protein? Yeah, they do. Let me give you some numbers. Let's say you're eating a typical diet. The average person might get maybe 2,000 calories of just food every day. And the government would say, if you're a man, maybe 56 grams of protein is what you need. Okay, I'm going to do it all vegan. In fact, all I'm going to do for a day as an experiment, all I'm going to do is eat broccoli. Nothing but broccoli. Not that you should do this, but if you did, you would get 147 grams of pure protein just from the broccoli. So about 3 times as much as your body actually needs. Okay, next day, we're going to do the experiment now, only lentils, nothing but lentils. For a day, I'm going to get 2,000 calories worth of just lentils. Is there any protein in that? 157 grams of pure protein. So hopefully you're not doing just broccoli or just lentils, you're doing a mixture of these things. If you had nothing but corn, you would get protein as well. And if you mix them together, then you get all the different, what are called essential amino acids. Those are the building blocks of protein. And most plant foods have all of them, but in different combinations. And any combination of just normal plant foods, the vegetables and the beans and the grains and the fruits, that gives you the protein your body needs.
What about spinach? Can spinach really keep you pumped like Popeye?
Spinach has protein. It's also got iron. That's what Popeye was thinking about. Iron, along with protein. And by the way, can we talk about athletes? You know lots of athletes.
Yeah.
You have worked with many.
Big sports guy.
Yeah, exactly. And so people say, all right, you're an athlete. You need more protein. True. But you don't need more protein from animal products at all. Think of it this way. An athlete is sedentary, doing nothing, needs oxygen. When he or she breathes, the oxygen comes in as part of air. And now we're exercising. It's the season. We're working hard. Am I breathing more? Yes. Am I getting more oxygen? Yes. Do I need an oxygen tank? No. So if I'm sedentary, I need a certain amount of protein. If I'm working out more, do I need more protein? Yes. You eat food. Protein is part of the food, and you just get the protein you need without any special supplements. You can supplement if you want. There's plenty of vegan, pure protein supplements, but it's not something you really need.
Then the question becomes, okay, if we're not short on protein, maybe we're missing out on some vitamins and minerals. B12 is the biggest concern among people who are plant-based, right?
Yeah, well, it's a legitimate question, but it's a real easy one, too. B12 is interesting. It's not made by animals, and it's not made by plants. B12, vitamin B12, which you need for healthy nerves and healthy blood, is actually made by bacteria. And that's right. And the reason it's associated with animal products is that in the digestive tract of a cow, there are bacteria, and they make B12, and it gets into the meat, and you eat the meat, you get B12. You happen to have those same bacteria in your gut, and they make B12 too, but whether you absorb it is really not clear. Most people would say, no, it's made by bacteria that are too far along in your digestive tract, and you can't absorb it. So many people speculate that before the advent of modern hygiene, the bacteria in the soil, on our fingers, and our mouths would create this tiny bit of B12 that we need. The human requirement is 2.4 micrograms. It's very, very low. And the idea was before modern hygiene, we would get that just from daily life. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. So I encourage people to not play around with it and just take a B12 supplement. How much? A small one. When you go to the store, they all have more than 2.4 micrograms, and some of them have 10,000 micrograms.
Right.
Just take the kind of the smallest one you can find. If you take a multiple vitamin, it's got B12 in it too, but you don't want to miss it. So
what other vitamins then should we be looking at as far as supplementation?
Really just one, I think, and that's vitamin D. Now, vitamin D, its natural source is sunlight. Sun on your skin, everybody knows, creates vitamin D. And when human beings were living in Africa, in equatorial Africa, there's plenty of sun. You don't need a vitamin D supplement, but we had the bad judgment to move to North Dakota. Or at least my forebears did.
Right.
Or maybe New Jersey or Finland or you name it. And there's not a lot of sun there necessarily, and it's kind of cold sometimes this time of year. And frankly, you can be in Florida. If you're using sunscreen, you're not getting the vitamin D either.
Interesting.
Yep. So what do? You take a vitamin D supplement in that case. If you're getting regular sunlight, about 20 minutes a day on your face and arms, fine. But if you're not, take a vitamin D supplement. About 2,000 international units a day is what most doctors would say.
Calcium tied very closely to that vitamin D.
Oh, I'm glad you mentioned that, John. Because what do you need vitamin D for? You need it to absorb calcium. That's right. It is also a cancer preventer. I agree. But you do need calcium. And so what's the question? All right, would I get calcium from dairy? I'm not eating dairy. Where can I get the calcium? The answer is that cows don't make calcium. Cows do not make calcium, period.
That's a myth debunker.
The calcium is in the earth, it's in the ground, it's in the soil, and grass grows out of the soil and it carries the calcium up into the grass. The cow eats the grass, and the calcium just ends up in the milk. Now, you can eat green vegetables too, hopefully not grass. If you're eating kale, collard, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, green vegetables, they take the calcium from the earth, and it's actually more absorbable in the green vegetable than it is as milk. And I'll give you a couple numbers. Milk, about 30%, 32% of the calcium is absorbed. The rest just flushes through you. For green vegetables, closer to 50%, maybe higher.
Wow. And broccoli, if I'm not mistaken, that is a calcium powerhouse, isn't it?
Yep, it sure is. All the cruciferous vegetables named for their cross-shaped flowers have calcium. So that's broccoli, Brussels sprouts, kale, cauliflower, calcium rich. And if you're not eating those foods, you're missing a whole lot more than calcium. So bring those in. You can have broccoli for breakfast if you want. So these are healthy foods.
As a matter of fact, I mean, that just brings me to my next question is, how do we ensure then that we are getting everything that we need? Because obviously, you know, we've known about the food pyramid. We've been taught that our entire lives, but it's not necessarily the route that you want to take. So as somebody who is vegan, you know, what is the equivalent of the food pyramid?
Great. Okay. Travis, here's the way to do it. And we have rated diets, and there is a tool that was developed at Harvard University. It's a rating system that allows us to look at the healthfulness of a diet that you're adopting. It's called the Alternate Healthy Eating Inventory, or Alternate Healthy Eating Index. So here's what you do. 4 healthy food groups should be your staple. Get best decision he or she could ever make. 4 healthy food groups, B12, use that.
You know, we're going to touch on that in a future show about, you know, kids and school lunches and trying to clean up that whole mess. So
Yeah.
a lot of work to be done there, but thanks for touching on that. That's a good plug, man.
You bet.
I like that. Home stretch here. Stick around. We've got a recipe to give you, but for right now, you're listening to the Exam Room, brought to you by the Physicians Committee.
Not the next one yet. All right. So, that was pretty cool, huh? One of the big takeaways that I got from that when I watched it was having a large variety of in your diet, you know. So what I like to do is I actually like to go to the store and find something that I know nothing about. Like whether it's a weird looking squash or some kind of flour that I've never used before or something, and then I'll go online and I'll be like, what recipes use this thing? And that's actually how I come up with a lot of the recipes for my blog. So, yeah. And tonight we're going to be making this peach crisp, hopefully add some variety to your breakfast too. So, right, a couple of Bible verses that I really like about diet too. The first one you see right up here, wherefore, whether therefore ye eat or drink, or whatsoever ye do all to the glory of God. And, you know, that just goes to show God, because God cares about us, when we are actually, when we're treating our bodies well, when we're listening to our bodies and its needs, we're actually glorifying God at the same time. And another one here too, God actually, what was the ideal diet that God gave us in the very beginning? It says right here in Genesis 1:29, see, I have given you every herb that yields seed, which is on the face of the earth, and every tree whose fruit yields seed, to you it shall be for food. So, right, so a plant-based diet is actually the diet that God originally intended for us to have. So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. Let's see. So right, so tonight we're doing peach crisp. And let's see. And actually, well, I know people usually have crisp for like a dessert, right? So you didn't know being vegan could be so exciting. You're having a dessert for breakfast. Okay, it's a really easy recipe to do. And actually, Charlene, would you mind passing out the recipes here for me? So that you can follow along with me. And online, if you would like the recipe as well, there's actually a form on the Kingsport Facebook, and it's in the event. You can go on there, you can sign in yourself with your email address, your phone number, however you want to be contacted, and we'll send you the recipe as well. Okay. And also, again, if you have any questions, feel free to write them there down on your paper. And you also have some drawing tickets in front of you as well. We're going to be doing a drawing for our dish of the night here. So you'll actually get to take this sample size home with you and share it with your family, or, you know, eat it all yourself. I won't judge you. It's okay. All right. Gloves here. Okay. So the first thing that we're going to do here is we're going to mix together in our larger bowl our oats. I can hear myself. Our oats here, and then that would be, when you're making a large batch, that's 5 cups of oats. And then we've got 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of coriander, 1 teaspoon of anise. And my mother actually helped me get all of this ready, and she's super awesome. So she put all of this together for me in this little container. So I'm just going to put that down right in here with the oats. And tonight we're actually making it gluten-free too. And so we're going to use some gluten-free all-purpose flour. I found this all-purpose flour at the store. It's Bob's Red Mill all-purpose baking flour. So that's what we're using tonight. And the thick rolled oats that I'm using, I actually got at a local natural food store. Natural Food Market is actually what it's called. They're an awesome store. They've got so many cool things in there. I definitely recommend. They're in Johnson City. You should really check it out. That's where I find a lot of my items where it's like, I've never seen this before. Let me give it a try. So we've got that in there. Then we're just going to mix it together. So nice and simple. Then we move on to our liquid ingredients. First, we're going to do some fruit juice. So you are going to need 1.5 cups of fruit juice. And let's see what I need here. Okay, I need 1/2 cup of fruit juice because I'm making a smaller batch. So I'll take my little measuring cup here. Okay. Well, I'm using white grape juice here, but you could also use apple juice, or you could use, I'm also going to use a little bit of juice from the peaches in the can here, too, to make up the tiny bit of difference that I have. So. Usually I'd use the top to help me, but there we go. Okay, perfect. it's a delicate process, you know. This is why I call myself an amateur kitchen chemist. It sounds cooler than home cook, so so you can be an amateur kitchen chemist too. All right, and then we're just going to add that into our liquid mixing bowl. And next, we're going to do 1 teaspoon of maple syrup. See right here. I like to use as pure maple syrup as I can get, because you know it just, I don't know, it tastes better, and it has less corn syrup in it. So, all right, just pour that right in here. There we go. And just add it right in. This is actually a dish that my mom used to make all the time. She'd make it the day beforehand and then cook it in the morning. So that's a really nice idea to do too. If you're busy in the morning but you still want a good breakfast, you can make it the night before and pop it in the oven in the morning. All right, then we have our vanilla, and you will want 1.5 teaspoons, and I need half a teaspoon right over here. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, tablespoons for you. Oop. Yep. 1.5 tablespoons. Okay. And normally, you know, if you'd like to, you can add some, sorry, my glasses keep slipping down. You can use some, any kind of nuts that you want in the dry ingredients as well. You could use walnuts, chop them up and put them in there if you like it. Tonight I'm making it nut-free because I don't know who's going to get the recipe. But yeah, that's definitely an option that you can do. Okay, and then we're just going to stir together these liquid ingredients. Oh, right, okay. Okay, and then we're just going to mix them together. And it's pretty simple, simple as that. So, how many of you are just learning how to cook? You came here to just learn how to cook. How many? We've got a lot of veterans here. That's great. Yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah, maybe new to cooking vegan. Yes, that's right. Well, that's good. Hey. Okay, mix that. We're gonna let the oats soak in some of this, some of the liquid here, and then it'll turn into a nice, nice crumble that you're gonna put on top. Okay, so we're just gonna set that aside and bring out our baking dish here, and then we're gonna take our peaches, and I might actually. Well, yeah, I'll just pour this in. So you just pour your peaches into your pan like so. Nope, you don't have to drain them. And if the juice, if you got, what we have right here is peaches with 100% fruit juice. Okay, so it's not in syrup. And if you do decide to do that and it's a little bit watery in there, you want it to be thicker, you can actually take some tapioca powder right here and you can just sprinkle a little bit on top. You don't need very much. And then you just, well, it's all clean. And then you're just going to mix it in here with your stirring utensil so that the tapioca powder gets in there. And what tapioca powder actually does is it's a thickener. So it's going to turn it more into a syrupy-like consistency when you bake it, because when it heats up, that's when it makes it nice and like a syrup. Okay, that's great. And then you can already tell that our oats here has soaked up the juice that we put in there. Yep. So you can actually, when you're stirring it, it'll be, I'm trying to think of a word that doesn't sound weird, but I don't know, it'll be more squishy than watery. Yep. Okay, and now what you're going to do is you're going to wash your hands if you're at home. But we have our gloves on here, so we're just going to take them and we're going to take our crumble and then just crumble it right on top. And you can put, you want to do it evenly. Sometimes we have some left over at home. And you know, which is actually kind of nice. We can keep it in the refrigerator and use it the next day. Oh, thank you. Right now, before we put on the crumble. Thank you so much. I missed that step. Okay. So, yeah. Oh, yes. How many dates do you use? Where do I even have it on here? That's funny. Oh, I made a typo then. Sorry about that. Okay. I'm sorry? Well, both. So if your peaches are not sweet enough, so if you get like the full sweetened syrup, then your peaches will be sweet enough. You probably don't need to do dates. But if you're getting like the fruit juice, you'll probably just want to test out your peaches and see how sweet it is already. And if you want to make it sweeter, instead of adding sugar, you're actually going to want to add some dates instead, because the sugar that, the sweetener that dates have is actually easier for your body to process and won't give you like those sugar highs that you would normally get. So I'll get some new gloves here so that we don't get the dates all oaty. Okay. So here we go. And I liked, if your dates aren't chopped already, you can chop them up. I just bought them already chopped. And you can just sprinkle them right in here. I would suggest using, for a full batch, I would suggest half a cup of dates. Chopped dates. And we'll just sprinkle some in the crumble there since we already have it on top. See, your recipes are just guidelines. If you mess up, that's okay. Just have fun with it. That's the whole point. Yes. Yeah, you can definitely make it with fresh peaches. You would just add some other fruit juice like the white grape juice, or I guess if you found peach juice, you could put that in there too. So whatever you like. Okay, so we're just gonna mix that in a little bit there, get it all around. Okay. And then we'll finish covering it here. Oh, and I'm sorry. And what Ron was asking was that, can you use fresh peaches? And yes, you can use fresh peaches. I wouldn't think you would have to peel the peaches if you were to use fresh peaches. Yeah, I think it would be fine to leave the skin on. Mm-hmm. I think that would taste delicious. Yeah, we have apple crisp. I actually played around with the idea of making a mango crisp once. I haven't tried it yet, but I think it'd be pretty awesome. But absolutely, you can make all kinds of crisps. Originally, in our recipe folder, this is just the crisp topping, and then you can put whatever kind of fruit you want inside of it. Yeah. So definitely, just play around with it. The kitchen is meant to be a fun place. And again, this is even a really nice one that you can have your kids help you out with too, because I mean, there's nothing sharp really. It's just mixing and putting in, and really simple. They could probably even make it all by themselves. I know my niece just got her own cookbook, and she makes peanut butter cookies all the time now. That's her favorite recipe. Yes. And there you have it. That's how you top it off, and it looks just like that. Nice in there. And then what you'll want to do to finish it off when you're at home, you put it in the oven at at 375 degrees. And then you bake it for about 45 minutes or until, the crumble is nice and brown on top. You can check it to see how you like it best. Yeah. And then it's all set. It's that simple. You can eat it by itself when it's nice and hot, or you could actually eat it with milk as well. You could use oat milk, soy milk, coconut milk, almond milk. There's so many different ones you can try, and we actually have some here today that we're going to let you try as well. Yes. And so actually we're going to collect the drawing tickets that you have there in front of you. If you haven't filled them out yet, then please do so right now. And if you have any questions, we will do a little question answer session. Yes, Rebecca. How much? Okay. How much was the quantity of this whole recipe? So the recipe that I gave you will make a 9 by 13 glass baking dishes worth of this crisp. This one that I'm doing right here is a little sample dish. Is a little sample dish because I didn't want to waste any food, and also you guys get to take it home. So, so what I made right here made about 1/4 of this recipe. Okay, so it'll be 4 times this. It is a lot of crisp, yep, but you can also keep it in the refrigerator. Yeah, you can keep it in the refrigerator for later in the week too. It reheats really well in the microwave or on the stove. Yeah. Do we have any other questions? No? Okay, awesome. Okay, so we'll go around. And do we have any questions from YouTube on here? all, or Facebook. Let's see. You didn't see any on either one? Okay. Oh, yep. Oh, yeah. You can. Mhm. Yeah. So my mom is actually here, and she was just suggesting that a lot of the time, what she used to do for us is put in some blueberries, chop up some mint, and put it in there. See, really, she's the one who sparks a lot of my ideas too, and I use a lot of her ideas already, so I can't take full credit, but. But yes. Okay, so I'm going to come around here and collect some of these tickets.
Can I do that?
Oh, sure.
Can you explain what coriander is?
Okay.
And anise?
All right. Coriander and anise are these two sweet herbs right here. Okay. Well, anise is a seed, and so is coriander, and you just have them as a powder form, or a lot of the times anise will just come as the full seed. Sometimes I will blend it up and crush it. You can what? Oh, show it? Okay. Certainly, yeah, you can look and see. That's fine. Yes, so here's the anise.
Yes, I know the anise.
And then coriander powder. And actually, if you're from the Kingsport or Johnson City area,
In India?
it's from the Spice World
Uh-huh.
in Johnson City. You can get it there. Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's where we got ours.
You know Fan here in the Chinese?
The Asia market here in Kingsport. Yeah, I haven't looked for it there, but they might have it.
Okay.
Hmm.
And the tapioca flour?
Tapioca powder I think Walmart carries tapioca powder. Hmm. Mm-hmm. So tapioca beads are usually used in like puddings and things like that. The tapioca powder is going to dissolve in the liquid that you're using. And you also want to use cold liquid when you're dissolving it as well, because otherwise it can clump when you've made it hot already. So you'll want to put it in just before you start heating up. Like if you're making a gravy with it as well, right, you'll want to put it in before you start whisking it on the stove there.
Es como harina. Maicena? Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Oh, okay.
There you go. Some people use cornstarch as well. You can try that. But I use tapioca powder most of the time. Right, it's non-GMO. You know, I think I haven't used enough tapioca, or I haven't used enough of, well, we're comparing cornstarch or tapioca powder. Is tapioca powder sweeter? I haven't really noticed a difference between the two so much. Because when you're using it as a thickener, usually the other flavors are coming in together with it, in my experience, anyway. So. Okay. All right. So, are there any other questions that we have? Did you have one, Dale? Did I see your hand up before? Did you have a question? Did I see your hand up? No? Okay. All right. Well, it was really lovely to have you all here tonight. Again, if you would like to receive the recipes that we had here tonight, I'll fix any typos that I did before I send it out. Then you can go online, and there's a form on the Kingsport Seventh-day Adventist Facebook, and it will be in the event for tonight. You can click on that, and it'll take you to a page where you give your name, your email address, your phone number. You just fill that out, and I'll get back to you with the information and updates for the next event coming up tomorrow. All right. So we actually have our samples ready here, and so we're going to close our class with a prayer and a blessing for the food. Okay. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for having had brought us together here tonight. Thank you for giving me words to say, even though I was kind of nervous. And please bless the food, help it to nourish our bodies. In Jesus' name, amen.